Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another session of Research and Publication Ethics. And we have been talking about Unit 1, and this is in Unit 1, Lecture 5th. And we have been talking about philosophy. And in last session, Lecture 4, we talk about different types of philosophy. So we are proceeding further. And in last session, we talk about metaphysics, different types of philosophy in metaphysics. So today another kind of philosophy. Here we are talking about exology, and exology has been further bifurcated into ethics and aesthetics. And then we'll talk about philosophy of science, we'll talk about logic today, and very important thing in philosophy, religion. And then morality, another issue, another topic we're going to discuss today in lecture 5. So after morality, we will be happy that yes, unit 1 of research and publication ethics is over. So thank you very much. Once again, I welcome you all, dear friends. And it's great. It's a kind of great learning for all of us that we have been talking about philosophy. So philosophy is something which is very difficult to define, has got multi-dimensional, kind of definition, multi-dimensions concept it has got. So we start with first philosophy, first type of philosophy. We call it exology, and this is a branch of philosophy which is concerned with values. So, values in our culture, in our society, in our community, we respect values, and values you might have noticed come from our culture, and we feel that it comes from our family also. So, we learn our values, we learn our system, we learn our value system, and then we interact with people, we react on a particular issue, and when we react or act, it reflects on our value system. So, it is an attempt to discover and recommend principles for deciding what action and qualities are most worthwhile and why are they are so. So, it's a kind of, because life is what it's all about, how you're going to live it. So, when you live your life, people say it's a art, but beside that, you need to follow some guidelines, you need to follow some principles, and your actions, your qualities, your reactions all would be guided by some principles. And here, if you think of this values exology, it's a source of the aim of education, because ultimately education means what? Is it that you want to get diploma, certificate course, degree, or more than that, you know what is right, what is wrong. You know that uh, the way I take decision, the way I have been behaving, that would be in a particular way, and that is actually defining our life, that is actually defining our value system. So all education, all form of schoolings are integrated with value of nature. So when you select a particular school for your child, what happens? You want to send them to a school where they will have good moral values, they will have good values. And so schools are the place, schools are the institution. Beside that, your home also, our home also is an institution where we give some kind of training, we give some kind of understanding to our children that these are the values of our life. So and as a teacher, as a scholar, we all are agent, we all are torch bearer, we all are the people, those who actually develop values, keep these values, and transform these values from one generation to another generation. And as far as the exology is concerned, it has been bifurcated into two parts: ethics and aesthetics. So exology we'll talk about, but before that, ethics. The study of ethics often concern what we ought to do and what it would be best to do. So what do you want to do, and what would be the right way, what would be the good best way to do something? So in a struggling with this issue, a lot of big questions comes in your mind, at what is right, what is wrong. So what is good, what is right, that we need to decide, and that comes from our own values, that comes from our values, that comes from our schooling, that comes from our institutions, that comes from our culture. So the aesthetic attempt to answer such questions as what is good, what makes action or people good. So do we have some guidelines, do we have some rules and regulation we need to follow? So if we are following that, we adhere to rules and regulation, definitely our action would be good, and it would be more, it will have more acceptance. So what is right, what makes action right? And then very very important thing, dear friends, is morality objective or subjective? How should I treat others? So what gave you happiness, right? Is it that you donate money, you help other people, self before service, right? Or service before self? So you need to decide it, you need to come forward. And when you reflect on all these issues, when you behave in a certain way, it is actually coming from your value system, it comes from your learning, which we call ethics. So ethics is concerned with good or bad, right and wrong, approval or disapproval, as well as virtue and vice. So let us see what few more questions. How should we live life? Life is very very dynamic, right? And it is all about your feeling, it is all about your behavior, it is all about your um, how to manage your life. So what is good, what is evil, what is the best way to live, what is justice, is right and wrong the same everywhere or different everywhere? So these are few questions which we study in ethics. And ethics is something, I mean, I don't know, we are able to define it, but more than that, we can feel it, we can understand it. So that is the beauty of ethics. Then we come to aesthetics. In this kind of research, in this kind of philosophy, basically we are inquiring into nature of what is beautiful or ugly and why it is so. Are we talking about white and black? Are we talking about caste system? Are we talking about racism? Are we talking about, I mean, what is good, what is bad, what is beautiful, outer beauty, inner beauty? So these all concepts we need to understand, and we need to understand philosophy behind this. And aesthetic, basically this somewhere linked with emotions, linked with some kind of understanding, and it's explore the nature of beauty, art, taste with the creation and appreciation of beauty. So which beauty you are defining, inner beauty, outer beauty? You need to you need to develop that taste, you need to talk about that beauty, and it is very difficult to appreciate that beauty. For that you need kind of sense to understand that beauty, you need to have that sense to understand, appreciate that art. You need to have some taste to feel that, oh, it's so good, it's awesome. So what kind of questions comes in our mind? So very simple. uh, what is beauty? So when you see something, you feel, oh my god, so good, so beautiful, right? What is art? What is the value of beauty and art? What should judge what is beautiful or artists? What should art and beauty be judged? So this is about aesthetics, it's all about ethics. And we have been talking about exology, I hope you remember now. So different kind of exology we have discussed in terms of ethics and aesthetics. And now we're gonna discuss another kind of philosophy, we called it philosophy of science. So here we are talking about the natural world, the natural environment. How should we study nature? It's not easy because you will see different components, different elements of a nature. So it's not an easy job, it's gonna be a very very difficult task. What methods are useful in the study of nature? how we interpret them, how we do this kind of research. So it's not an easy job. Can science establish natural law which are absolute? So can we see that if this is kind of nature we have, then it would be same everywhere, right? So will it be a true everywhere or for everyone? So that is some kind of philosophical questions comes in our mind as a human being. So when we study the natural world, what are the limits of scientific knowledge? Because scientific knowledge is also having some limitation. You cannot go beyond that. And then next, very important kind of philosophy, that is religion. Very important, very important. It's very personal. And so most of us, we always have this kind of query in our mind that so as a human being, we all have somewhere a very big question in our mind: does God exist? What is God? Who is God? What is the nature of relationship between God and human? Because uh, we have one kind of fear that if we do something wrong, then definitely God will put some penalty on us. So somewhere that invisible hand, somewhere someone is looking at us that okay, you're not supposed to perform these kind of bad things, because every outcome would be dependent on your action. So who is controlling it? Who is looking at us? Who is monitoring us? So we feel that some invisible eyes, some invisible hands are there, and these hands protect us, control us, right, nurture us. So these hands are basically God. So God is there. Is God active in the world? How? I mean, you might have noticed natural calamity. You might have noticed that when you do good things, uh, good things come back to you. So you feel that this is because of God wish that yes, if we perform good things, if we all are in good action, performing good action, then definitely good things will come back to us. If we are if we are doing bad things, then definitely you will realize that bad things come back to you. So is it a God action? Is there a life after death? Very important question. Very important question. In our religion, why people donate, why people do good things? The reason is, as per the research, that in next life we'll have next life and we'll go to heaven, right? In other country, especially a Western country, they do a lot of good things. They donate money, and these kind of things bring some happiness to their life. So here you see different religion, different culture. They have different perspective towards death. They have a different perspective toward God, and they have a different perspective towards life and afterlife also, or I mean after death. What is the relationship between religion and ethics, religion and science? These are big questions, and this is another kind of, so religion is another kind of philosophy. And then very important kind of philosophy, we call it rules for thinking, and basically we are talking about logic, developing logic, and understanding logic. It's not an easy job. For that you would be needed some premises. So you might have noticed in your family, in your office, that you find few people, whenever they speak, whenever they say, they give some logic and they give some argument. So that arguments are defended with the help of some premises. So we need to be creative. We need to understand this logic, and more than that, if you can create that logic, your research is also, somewhere defending or rejecting some logic, some argument, some theory. So here this is systematic principles or rules for thinking rationally, and inferences are made by construction of arguments. So its arguments are there, and arguments would be based on some premises. When you come out with some premises, some concepts, some statements, They all together work, and they reflect on a particular argument, and then particular argument become a logic. Rules of logic determine which arguments are valid and which are fallacious, which are wrong. So we have been talking about another philosophy which is called logic. So another important aspect of the study of philosophy is the arguments or reasons given for people answer to these questions. See, your research work, your PhD, your research article, it's all about giving reasoning, giving argument that why did you select this particular topic, why this is the sample. So you need to give some logic that this is the reason I have taken this questionnaire, this particular scale, this measurement. So you need to develop that reason, you need to give that argument, and for that you need to be a bit logical. You need to understand that philosophy. What is this logic all about? To this end, philosophers employ logic to study the nature and structure of argument, and logicians ask such kind of questions. So if you have these kind of question, then definitely you are a good logical person. So what constitute good or bad reasoning? So now you know a lot of people, they are, you know, pessimistic, optimistics. You will find a lot of people, so they gave a argument which could be a bad argument to a particular thing. Few people can get a good argument to a particular thing. So now you need to understand the idea behind that, the logic behind that, and what perspective they have been talking about. And very important another question when we think of a logic, how do we determine whether a given piece of reasoning is good or bad? So that you understand over a period of time that this person is having this kind of logical reasoning, but that whatever reasoning, whatever argument he comes out, always it's the outcome or the motto is bad, or the motto or outcome is good. So that logic over the period of time you develop. Now we come to very important part of philosophy and research, philosophy and ethics, which is actually reflecting not what you call philosophy but ethics, morality. What is morality? Morality is it has been taken from Latin, and morality is it defined manner, character, proper behavior, is the differentiation of intentions, decisions, and actions between those that are distinguished as proper and those that improper. So now you know what is proper, what is improper. You need to differentiate it. You need to think of your intention. What is your intention? And that intention comes from, you know, your character, your behavior. So your behavior is somewhere guided with some values. So here this values, this morality comes from your family, this comes from your society, this comes from your community, and as defining it, it's gonna be a very difficult task logically. So here you can see can be a body of standards or principles derived from a code of conduct, from a particular philosophy. So this morality kind of rules and regulation, kind of way of behavior, way of doing, or way of performing something, way of taking decisions, can we derive it from a particular code of conduct which actually reflect on a particular religion, particular philosophy, or a particular culture, or it can be derived from a standard that a person believes should be universal. So you might have noticed in past 10, 15, 20 years, everything has been globalized. Our food habit, our way of talking, our lifestyle, we are, overcoming from that limitation, and we are trying that the whole world, when they talk, when they speak, when they eat, they behave, they respect to each other. So all these would be the second part. Can we say that the way or the standards or the rules and regulation would be same for whole world, right? But India is a kind of country where we live in a society, we live in a culture, very diversified culture. But few things are common, like honesty, respect for elders. So these few, and you go to any culture, you reflect on any culture, any society, they will have basic rules and regulation. That would be, we all must be honest, we need to trust, we need to respect elder. So it's reflect on the different religion also, they will have similar kind of philosophy. So morality is a synonyms with goodness or rightness. Where does morality come from? So here you can see different sources. So it comes from your society where you live, it comes from your community, you are part of a particular community, and most important, it comes from parents. And over the period of time, you develop some understanding on the basis of learning, on the basis of knowledge, on the basis of skills, on the basis of talent. And because you are part of a particular family or a part of a particular community, and that family, that community, they start believing in something, or they have been believing in a particular concept, so you also become a part of that, and you also believe in that. And then a religion, morality also come from religion, because in each and every religion there are some guidelines, there are kind of invisible code of conduct which comes from the people behavior, right? So it may be that it's may not be necessary that it would be in written form, it may be that it is reflecting with the act or reaction or action of people, those who are part of that particular religion, caste, creed, right? And then the social norms. Social norms would be a kind of norms which we follow when we come out from our home to the society, to the neighbor. So we know that you cannot throw your trash to your neighbor house or in front of neighbor house. And so this is what, these are the few normal norms which we need to follow. These are some social norms, and we need to respect all, right? No matter which religion, which community, which society you belong. Then a communication, a relationship. So over the period of time, because now it's a time, because we all human beings are social animal, so we need, as per what you call Maslow's need hierarchy, we feel that after physiological need, after security need, we need to have very very important need, that is we need to have some kind of socialization, communication, relationship. So that communication, who you are going to communicate, to whom you gonna have relationship, maybe your friends, maybe people in society, in a community. So you learn from them, and especially children, they when they come to school, they are supposed to learn, because they are communicating with teacher, they are communicating with friends in a school or institution. So these all platforms, whether it's a community, society, parents, religion, social norms, communication and relationship, all perform a very very important role in developing your values and giving you some kind of understanding that what is right, what is wrong. So basic principles, so you all aware of these, since your childhood you might have noticed this: do good, avoid evil, the end does not justify the means, follow what nature intends, do to others whatever you would have them to do you. So these are few basic moral principles, I believe. These are few, but you understand moral values, you understand moral principles. And I hope, as a researcher, this is our duty, because we all are potential, you all are potential teacher, and teacher is a role model, and you need to, because you are the source of moral values, moral principle. So whatever you perform, sometime it's not that something you have written on a particular script, particular sheet, but more than that, your action, your behavior also reflect on the moral principles or moral values. So this is what we are discussing today, unit 1, lecture 5, and we have been talking about different types of philosophy, and finally we ended with morality. Thank you very much for joining us. And next class, we will start with Unit 2, and that would be Lecture 6, and we'll talk about scientific conduct. Here you can see Lecture 6, everybody, and we'll talk about scientific conduct. So I hope we'll have 2 more lectures on this. Then we'll come to Unit 3. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining me, and we'll continue. Please join me in next session. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.